Everything's awesome in Bronco land. They have an outstanding defense, the young receiving core is looking to develop, and what better way for that to happen than with Aaron Rodgers under center? He's been so pissed in Green Bay that there's no way that he won't go to Denver. He's not in Denver. As they wait one more year for Aaron Rodgers to complete his Peyton Manning arc, there is a quarterback battle emerging in the quest for 500. The feel-good low-event Carolina exile and Teddy Bridgewater? Or the gunslinging high-risk turnover magnet in Drew Lock? For those of you wondering at home, they chose Teddy Bridge for the time being. At least he won't embarrass you in most games? I hope, right? Do you know it's been over 5 years since they won their last ring? Feels like it was yesterday. Perhaps for Denver's sake, George Payton is right and QBs are plentiful in every draft. But John Elway thought the same thing. The AFC seems to be top-heavy again, but there's a ton of competition in the middle. And that's where the intrigue will come into play. The divisions seem relatively cut and dry. Buffalo wins the AFC East, Cleveland gets the AFC North, Tennessee claims the AFC South, and Kansas City locks up the AFC West. But for wildcards, there's an argument to be made for many teams. For the three I'm choosing, I'm going with Baltimore, Miami, and the Chargers. It was very tough to pick anyone who stands out in that regard. So I'm hoping for a really exciting AFC this season. I have a gut feeling another 10-win team isn't going to make the playoffs again. Teddy Bridges' era in Denver is off to a solid, if unspectacular start. It's fitting of his playstyle. Drives the ball down the field methodically, he limits his mistakes, he allows his teammates to thrive and not be exposed to defenders. It's all the Broncos needed against the Giants. You can also see that the G-men have learned nothing over the offseason and struggled to do anything against their opponent. The only consistent element about New York is Daniel Jones fumbling the damn ball. If I'm Joe Judge, I take a few days to decompress all the rage he's built up. All of those eruptions on how shit his players are can't be good for his blood pressure. If you enjoy college coaches who should have stayed in college or the broadcast booth, let me introduce you to Urban Meyer, an absolute legend who has been so out of place at the NFL level that he's been linked to a job opening at fucking USC. With how bad the Jags have been so far, especially against Denver, that's a statement very easy to make. What the fuck have you guys done with Trevor Lawrence? Why the hell does he look so terrible so far? I get that he's a rookie and there's an adjustment period, but Jesus Christ, skewering on a kebab, you're gonna fuck him up! Give the man some goddamn help! Teddy Bridge literally just has to be Teddy Bridge and Denver cruises to an easy victory. The Jags have become so pathetic it's predictable. Don't worry, Duvall. You only have 15 more games of this grease fire. You know how easy it is to write shit about the New York Jets? No matter the personnel or player changes, they will always find incredible ways to butt fumble it all. I could just copy-paste all the shit I said over the past few weeks about them, and it would be just as accurate as it was then. This team is terrible. Even 12-year-olds are shitting on them nowadays. And I'm hearing all the Jets fans in the distance. You're getting lazy, Tree. Get better material. Here's an idea, folks. How about the Jets get better material? It's been the same shit with this organization for over half a decade now. Denver now becomes the most undeserving 3-0 team in the league because they played the equivalent of journalist mode in a video game. Oh, wow, you beat the mistakes in East Rutherford and Jacksonville. So impressive. Wake me when you win a legit game. Oh no, Denver! You had to play a team that wasn't carefully handpicked by the developers? The game stopped holding your hand and made you rely on your own skill? Well, that's it. Time to write a bad review on IGN. Unfortunately for the Broncos, they can't write unfair reviews because they suck and must still deal with relentless dunking by those who knew they were frauds. Baltimore's defense is injured, rat-infested trash, yet they looked unstoppable again. And that was before Teddy Bridge was knocked out of the game with a concussion. Now you must endure horsecock lock. They call him that because you'll be in the Mr. Hand simulator by the time this game's finished. Baltimore crushes the lower-class peon that thinks he's better than what he is. End of story. Back to the decrepit village, fuckers! The Ravens flexed on you and you're pissed about it. Bitch about it at the tavern to some wenches. Breaking news. Franchise people considered to be fraudulent by inflating their record has been revealed to be fraudulent. These last 2 weeks have proved it. Denver sucks. Teddy Checkdown is doing his best Joe Flacco impression. The defense allowed Big Ben to throw a deep pass. Steelers' suspect offensive line looks strong. And Najee Harris ran wild all across Heinz Field for the first time in his career. What is this play calling from Denver? What is this game plan? What is performing in clutch situations? The black and gold play to a form we haven't seen in a bit. Playoff contenders. Ben is on life support from about 15,000 injuries, but he's somehow still alive. He's a goddamn zombie. Feel bad for his wife, he will never go down. But fortunately for Denver, the offense finally got its shit together in the fourth quarter. This shouldn't be anywhere close to a game, yet the Broncos are pushing. Pittsburgh's offense is battered by injuries, a perfect time to strike. But even then, I don't know how, but Denver has a chance to tie it in the red zone.
Oh, coming down to this, Bridgewater, intercepted!
How do you feel about this if you're Pittsburgh? Yeah, you won in the end, but at what cost? Those injuries they accrued are pretty crucial if they're long-term. I guess they will take the win. At least they don't have Pat Shurmur calling plays. The Raiders were dealing with a chaotic week with John Gruden forced to resign and having their special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia take the temporary reins. So do you know how Denver usually has their best response by completely shitting it and forgetting anything relating to the game of football? Let's just say Vegas had their rallying cry this week with more than a moral victory. It was good resolve from them to come back after all the shit that's happened to win. It's really impressive. But the Broncos are just fucking bad. Quite the shame when a team can no longer play the garbage of the league to stat pad, isn't it? Shit offense, exposed and flawed defense. Same stuff that happened last week without the comeback. And the thing is this, when Denver was forced to try and make plays on offense, they shat the bed. It was as pathetic as what Vic Fangio calls a game plan. Perhaps that's too soft a word for them. Vegas was visibly wounded, ripe for the taking, and they still failed miserably. Enjoy 500, boys. If you're lucky, you'll manage to stay there for a while. It's one thing to be a team that's just terrible, but to be the Denver Broncos, that's a level of trash all its own. The Browns were dead men walking after last week's obliteration. Injured men as far as the eye could see, yet Denver was limp-dicked. They lost to a goddamn scout team. It was the equivalent of facing Jacksonville, for crying out loud. Cleveland was ripe for a bullet in its head, and you not only let them survive, but Case Keenum had his revenge. I'd beat the dead horse further, but like the Bronco offense, I threw a check down on a 3rd and long and now have to punt this segment away. How do you get owned so badly by Dearness Johnson? Two terrible teams. One main goal in mind for both. Which squad can fuck up less? If you were to look on the surface, you'd think this was one of those legendary defensive showdowns of the 70s. The offense was that putrid from both teams. Checkdowns on long yardage situations. Blocked field goals, interceptions on Hail Mary passes, missed field goals, more blocked field goals. Both teams want to lose this match so badly, yet are consistently outclassed by their opponents in this endeavor. The sad part is neither is really trying to. It's effortless ineptitude, the deadliest execution of all. This is both beautiful and agonizing to witness at the same time. Sloppy-ass football is a pet passion of mine. We must embrace the failure as Denver unfortunately scores a touchdown. Washington tries to advance from city block to city block. They know that their season will be in danger if they lose, but Denver's defense turns up the heat at the goal line. Either that or the Reskins remember that offense is illegal in their code of law. I think 4th down just confirmed it. We can finally put a bullet in this fucking game. Thank God. Just burn the damn clock and go home before. Are you fucking kidding me? Why does Denver want to lose this game so badly? It's the Reskins! Just give them the pointless menial tasks to prevent them from ruining anything! Good thing they did enough of that by themselves. Broncos somehow get back to 500 and foolish playoff aspirations are still intact. Ugly football. It'll be forgotten in a week, but it's a necessary virtue of the world. One that I cherish ever so dearly. Denver's had a really shitty year, all things considered. And I've got good news for that city. It's gonna get even shittier for them. Von Miller, the face of the franchise since Peyton Manning retired, has been traded. He was going to be a free agent after the season, and the Broncos didn't want to pay him for an extension. Also, with how the Broncos are offensively challenged, it makes perfect sense to get picks in return to build for the future. Von's new home? The Los Angeles Rams. They paid a hefty price for his services, like many other pieces they brought in. A 2nd and a 3rd round pick. Miller isn't what he was, but with him and Aaron Donald on the same line, holy fuck, that's deadly. With this move, the course has been set for the Rams. Super Bowl or bust. They know the time is now, and they'll do anything to get back there. This move helps with that. Football. It's a very strange game. So simple in theory, but with so many moving parts and the constant need for innovation, anything can derail a game plan on a given Sunday. Dallas at home against one of the most uninspiring teams thrown out onto a field this year? With Dak Prescott back from injury? On paper, this should result in Vic Fangio getting hung by his drawers on that gigantic fucking scoreboard. Little did we all know that the Cowboys must have assumed it was January. They shit the bed so goddamn hard on both sides of the ball. Even the special teams do the unbelievable by blocking a punt but touching it past the line of scrimmage, technically considering it a muff as Denver recovers it for a first down. Unlike that fluke play, the Bronco defense came out and played like they had emulated their 2015 form. Absolute supremacy. It's the Mike McCarthy special. When talent can't bail him out, the team he coaches looks like it just shit its pants. The Broncos played up to what they thought they were at the beginning of the year. Elite defense with an efficient offense and timely playmaking. I only ask one question. Where the hell was this earlier? Denver, look at the situation in front of you. A golden opportunity to assert yourselves in the AFC playoff race. Nearly every conference foe in your midst losing their games. A relatively easy opponent in the Eagles coming a mile above sea level to play football. With all of this in mind, what do you think happened? If you answered the Broncos blowing nearly every conceivable opportunity and handing Philadelphia a win by means of relentless fuck-ups, then you'd be correct. All I can say is either Dallas played like pure shit last week or Denver got way too overconfident. Dear Lord, they looked sloppy in all aspects of play. We knew something was wrong when they fell behind by 2 scores early, but the fun starts in the second half. Repeated failure in the red zone only to have a chip shot field goal blocked thanks to a lapse in coverage. The blocking gates had just opened. Going for it on 4th down only for Melvin Gordon to fumble and the game transforming into a Benny Hill sketch. Teddy Bridgewater gave so few fucks on this play that you could call him Teddy Bridge quarterback. Like every other chance they've had this season, the Broncos settle on checking it down and fail to come anywhere close to the goal. This is why nobody takes you seriously, Denver. Because any team with some form of a competent game plan can rip you to shreds. Now get back in the irrelevant pile. Welcome to the NFL, where momentum is useless and absolutely nothing matters when gauging a team from week to week. Do you remember the Chargers' incredible comeback win because the Steelers forgot how to defense last week? Too bad for them that Denver's D decided to splurge on Madden Ultimate Team packs to boost the players. Justin Herbert did all he could, but when next to no one else is performing, there's little one man can do. Can Herbert somehow help the Bolts defense do anything to stop the run? They're all but laxative with how much shit they let through them. The Broncos have gone from faux contender to dog shit to even more dog shit to somehow pulling this off. As the Chargers import vast amounts of San Diego to fuck everything up, Denver slides right into the winner's circle by means of an impenetrable iron curtain. With this outcome, it turns the AFC West once again into a colossal fucking bloodbath. Somehow they helped out Kansas City by winning here. Crazy to think. What the actual fuck nature of the AFC continues on further in an AFC West contest with more at stake than meets the eye. If Denver somehow pulls another win out of its ass, the division becomes even more fucked than it was before. Unfortunately for all of us perverts that enjoy chaos, Kansas City recognized that the Broncos have a terrible offense and responded accordingly. All you have to do to beat them is lay down a carrot behind a trap and wait for the horse to fall in to be jabbed to death. For example, look at this impeccable 11-minute drive that Denver is concocting. They're conservatively sliding down to their red zone, but they get distracted by a shiny gold object perched on a pedestal. When they grab for it, they're shot by a barrage of poison darts. A total waste. Kansas City was strong defensively, just like last week against Dallas. And all they had to do was let the Broncos simulate cock and ball torture to win. It's not just giving up a pick six. It's giving up a pick six to Daniel fucking Sorensen. Denver is the lady in the Geico commercial. The NFL is the fisherman dangling $1 in front of them. They think they're just this close to getting it, but no. No, they can't. Get ready, Mile High Stadium. Mediocrity's gonna be barging its way through those doors once again. The gods have blessed the Broncos today. Out of tragedy comes a form that harkens back to a championship pride. Detroit, their roster limited by illness, and their sluggish performance were merely a conduit for healing and recovery. Defensive suffocation. Offensive competence. A powerful dual threat rushing attack of Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. It's another round of going up and down the roller coaster for the Broncos. This time, oddly enough, they may have life. They're 7-6 and have a fighting chance for playoffs, but they face other January suitors. But none of that matters right now. This day is to pay tribute to a team legend that was taken from us way too soon. This day is about Demaryius Thomas. This dominating win was for him. For one moment, there are bittersweet feelings for Bronco fans. Lions, I know you were the feel-good story last week, but this takes credence over your blasé trinkets. There's probably some room in the corner for you to gather dust. We can all agree this year has been insanely fucked for the NFL. Most games like the last one we recap feel like they're on some kind of drug cocktail. It's exhausting to follow this league some weeks. The only benefit is in memes fresh out of the oven. You thought it couldn't get worse. An old friend has reemerged onto the scene. Corona-chan is back from her lengthy vacation and wreaking havoc on every sports league throughout America. The NFL has felt her wrath hard. You may have noticed all the coughing last week. It was for good reason. Over 150 cases in the league over a 5-day span. It's not Pokemon to catch. Coronavirus is running a train throughout multiple organizations. Cleveland and the Rams have over 25 players in COVID protocol. Washington has over 20. Other teams like the Bears, Texans, and Lions are getting wrecked as well. 8 teams are in enhanced COVID protocols. This is the worst case scenario we were fearing last season. And we're seeing it happen in front of our eyes. The NFLPA pleaded with the league for games to be postponed, but of course they waited until the last moment. In a shocker, the Shield cared more about game integrity than cold hard cash. The Saturday Browns and Raiders tilt has been pushed to Monday. Seahawks versus Rams and Reskins versus Eagles have been rescheduled for Tuesday. We have it again in doubleheader form, boys! Tuesday night football! Any chance we can get a Wednesday night game? For all the glorious memes? Who had this game highlighted on their calendar before the year? A team that has been broken since 2016 against John Elway's perpetual mediocrity. For playoff seeding? Are you kidding me? This is the reality we're living in right now? One where Cincinnati comes into Denver and crushes whatever foolish dreams they may have? I'm sorry, Broncos, but you don't have divine intervention on your side this week. This game will be pain. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. The mile-high air apparently doesn't allow for the home team's offense to generate anything besides stalled-out drives and punting. The defense does its job as usual, but they can't do anything against Cincy. It creates situations like the one before halftime, where Pat Shurmur does his patented jackknife offense as Brandon McManus shanks a field goal, while the Bengals make one big play and kick a long field goal of their own to go up by 6. With seconds left in the half, while the futility is very real in Denver, things somehow get even worse.
Bridgewater, good run as he dives across the 35 and took a hit.
Did you really have to give this injury to Teddy Bridge? Hasn't this man been through enough fucking shit in his career already? Why the hell do you hate Denver? Is it because of the power struggle and ownership? Did John Elway kick you when you were trimming his hoops? The Broncos did regain a 1-point lead, but they apparently can have nothing good in this world. Just like most games this season, they'll bring hope to their fans by going on a drive. Denver will do everything to bring themselves back to relevance, but they'll fumble it all away in the red zone. It was enough to silence them. Their offense, like most games this season, can't get a damn thing going. All that's left is emptiness. The lack of traction in the passing game and a dreadful feeling in their soul. That may have been their shot, and the Bengals snatched it away in a complete game of their own. It was inevitable, Broncos. Deal with it. Mile High's Most Wanted. Pat Shurmur and Vic Fangio. Their crimes? Sabotage and vandalism of any semblance of team offense. In another must-win game for Denver, the defense did its part by doing everything in their power to shut down the Raiders. However, what's been their issue all season? I don't even need to say it. When you start Drew Lock and his erratic arm, all the defense has to do is zone in on the run. The Broncos aren't doing shit otherwise. Look, when a team goes 1 for 10 on 3rd down and accrues only 18 yards rushing, you're more than likely going home a loser. Their only touchdown on the day, like most weeks, was because of elite defense. They made the Raiders unit look like they were back in their 70s prime. And it's all but killed off Denver's non-existent playoff hopes. While Fangio and Shurmur might be out of a gig soon, Las Vegas has been given new life. Their year of chaos now has them tied for the 7th wild card. Not only that, but the almighty coin has been 14-1. All they need is for that next Chargers loss to turn into a win, and prophecy will be fulfilled. I'm not even mad, I just want him to do it. Did anybody seriously believe that Denver had any chance of winning this game? On paper, sure, they have the defense to wreck shit, but their offense has all the chemistry of mixing an ammunition cache and a spark. Explosions. And not the good kind. Wow, everyone! The Broncos failed miserably whenever they had a chance to make an impact on the game! Is this supposed to be breaking news? Anyone who's paid the slightest attention knows that this team makes Fred Rogers look more offensive. All this confirms is a date with destiny in Week 18 for the final wildcard spot. Not San Diego wins relatively easily against what's supposed to be an opponent, and what some allegedly called the playoff contender at some point in time. Now that I find funny. People thought this team could have made it far with this shitty offense? Don't make me laugh harder than I am. I think this deserves the reward of sending this team on a hot date with some fishes at the bottom of the ocean. It's pretty fair, don't you think?
Denver Broncos eliminated.
Ain't this the story of two opposite franchises or what? One gets all the damn breaks in the world and the other only gets broken dreams. The Broncos have nothing to play for but continued frustrations. It's pretty much been their damn season. Outstanding defense held underwater to drown by the chains of offensive ineptitude. Kansas City was right where they wanted them too. The Chiefs have been dominating time of possession, but time and time again Denver's defense would quash them. Somehow, I know it's shocking to say, their offense was scoring points. They were moving down the field in the fourth quarter. 7 minutes off the clock. Their running game has been impeccable. Before they nearly shock the world, a blitzer blows up a play before it starts. The ball miraculously lands in a Chiefs defender's hands and he runs it back almost 90 yards for a touchdown. All but rip the wind in their arms from their stiff, decaying body. If that isn't Denver's season in one play, I don't know what the fuck is. I'll give an honorable mention to kicking a field goal down by 7 in the fourth, but this is now the Chiefs' 13th straight win against Denver. Perhaps if the Broncos D wasn't paid to drop every potential interception of Mahomes, maybe things might have been different. This has been a season. So many twists and turns that it's hard to conceive with the naked eye. If you were looking at this year seriously, it was absolutely exhausting. But do you know the true bounty to cherish? The memes. It was fucking gold for this economy. Thanks to incredible collapses, fantastic comebacks, Urban Meyer's coaching tenure, and whatever the fuck Antonio Brown did in the Jets game. This team only had an offense. Under different circumstances, we'd say that the Broncos would have made the playoffs and been knocked out in brutal fashion against, let's say, Kansas City. However, that's not considering the remedial nature of what Denver considered an offense. Vic Fangio really trusted Pat Shurmur with it. Pat Shurmur, master of the check down on 3rd and long, sensei of underutilizing an emerging dual-threat running game, the god of wasting an elite defense more often than not. Every chance the Broncos had to do anything, there were 3 laws that followed. The offense couldn't find any Viagra to get the blood pumping, the offense fumbled away everything in critical situations, or the offense put as much effort into their craft as Teddy Bridge underwater did in tackling. I feel bad for that guy. When he tried to do things, he was concussed. Then you got true pass locked. Horsecock? Yeah, right. Their inability to move the ball forward forced Vic Fangio and company to move on. To replace him, a Duval cast-off you could argue was carried by Aaron Rodgers. Did I say Aaron Rodgers? That's the game plan for this offseason. Aaron Rodgers and then profit. Which means that Kirk Cousins will be their starting quarterback in 2022. I don't make the rules, kids.